Hey, this is a short video on the doona cover dress we are going to make as a sewing project. As you can see, I've got the pattern laid out. This is the pattern. As you can see from the front of the pattern, there are 3 dresses for one pattern, and they are style 1, 2 and 3. So the basic pattern gives you different styles. And the sizing is just on the bottom left corner. It's a miss size, which is for more not really a curvy figure. And we've selected number 2, which is the middle one. So once you've selected your dress, you find your pattern pieces, and you will note that every pattern piece has got a letter, and the little blue legend tells you which pattern piece you need for your particular dress. So like we're doing view 2, so C is not suitable, front facing view 1, we don't want that. E, bodice, front view 2, yes, we're going to take that. So we'll sort out your pieces. The skirt goes for all pattern, all variations. And then you pick your size. There's measurements there, standard body measurements, and there'll be a size. So pick your size, and then it tells you in view 2 dress how much fabric you'll need depending on the width of the fabric. If you've got a print or a fabric which looks different, if it's got a bit of a shine to it, or something looks different from one direction to the other, that's called a nap, you will need more fabric. So that's your packet when you look at it in the shop. Then you have the instructions. The first part of the instructions has all the different layouts. It tells you to fold your fabric, and you have to be careful. So if it's telling you to fold it with both of the right side facing up, you may have just 2 pieces of fabric, or you can fold them. Different patterns require different systems to do them. Gives you some sewing hints. Know your pattern markings and where you can lengthen the pattern. So if you're very long in the body or high in the shoulders, you may want to lengthen your pattern, which you do by folding the fabric a little bit, or you can shorten it by folding your pattern. At the back are the basic instructions for putting it together. Things like popping your zips and stuff in, you'll need to already know how to do them. So, back. Excuse the small interruption. So we're using a doona cover for this dress because it's a very economical way to recycle a doona cover, and there's plenty of fabric there, and fabric's quite expensive, especially if it's one of your early projects and you're not too confident how it's going to turn out. So the pattern also tells you here what you need to complete the garment: thread, a belt, view 2, 2 zippers, it's going to be fun to put them in, bias binding, and some ribbon. That's for the shoulders. So just make sure you've got those things. Okay, now I'm just going to show you the pattern, how it's laid out, and hopefully I won't wobble the camera too much. There's markings similar on most patterns. Here it says center front place on fold, so the fabric has a fold there. So although you'll pin this down and just cut once all the way around, ensure that you cut these little arrows, these little points out. When you take the pins out, this will be the middle of your garment, and there's darts here. You can see this pattern's been used before. There's you put little holes through and mark them with something washable, a tailor's chalk or a texture that washes off easily, maybe a little children's texture. So, and cut through there. If you accidentally cut off these dart things, these little points, just draw them in on the fabric underneath with some pencil. If it's a light fabric will do, because they're quite important when you, as you can see, when you when you're joining these two pieces together, these points will line up. Now this pattern is cut for size 14. If you want it the smaller size, see this little dotted line with scissors? You can cut your smaller size, putting a little diamond in, and then the sewing line is the line inside. So just have to take your time. You can see here the same thing for the smaller size. You've got the little dart, the little point there, diamond. So just if you cut them off, don't panic, just draw them in. And these little dots have got to be marked as well. And sometimes there's double ones, which this one's been cut off, but you can cut that in or draw it in. And that double one, I would guess, probably goes with this piece here, which has also got a double one. There's a line on your pattern, place on straight grain of fabric, which, because it's see-through, we can see we want that pretty straight so our checks are in line. And so just pin down, best to iron your fabric first, and get all your pieces cut, which is not as easy as it sounds. You have to be careful to know if your fabric, if you're doing two pieces together, whether it's the two wrong sides, the sides you don't see facing each other. With the skirt, we had to have both. You had the right side piece and then another right side piece on top, so they were both, the pattern side was facing upwards, because you can end up with like two left arms, sleeves. So it's worth paying note on the pattern of how to lay that out. And if you make a mistake, well, you know, it's not the end of the world. Alright, so once it's all pinned down, here you can see this is marked for a zip. So I would mark this dot, I would mark this on my pattern before I take the cover off, before I take the tracing paper off, just to remind me not to sew along there, because we want the zip to be able to be put in and not, you know, I have to unpick it. There's another little dart too. This dart, you see you draw the little circles through those holes, and that's so you know where to fold it, and you'll join the two dots together and make a small dart. This one's not to be cut. You can see this one was cut. It's a thick line, quite obvious if you haven't done it wrong before. So okay, so the pattern's laid out. I'm going to cut this one and we'll see how the doona cover dress turns out. There's quite a bit in here. Is learning to use the pattern and installing the zippers, and yeah, alright, and we've got a visitor. I haven't cleaned the kitchen floor. I've been too busy doing other stuff.